Success starts with relentless consistency. It's not about doing something big once in a while. It's about showing up every single day, putting in the work when it's exciting and when it's exhausting, when the results are showing and when it feels like nothing is happening at all. Talent can open the door for you, but consistency is what keeps you in the room. Talent might get you noticed, but without consistency, you'll fade into the background while someone with less talent but more discipline passes you by. Consistency is the bridge between where you are and where you want to be. It's easy to get fired up at the start of a journey. It's easy to wake up motivated on day 1, maybe even day 2. But what happens on day 30 when your excitement has worn off? What happens when your alarm goes off and every muscle in your body says, not today? That's where success is built. Not in the days you feel unstoppable, but in the days you feel like quitting and choose to push forward anyway. The truth is, most people don't fail because they lack ability. They fail because they lack the patience to keep showing up when progress is slow. They stop planting seeds because they don't see fruit right away. But consistency works in silence. It's like the gym. You won't see the change in a week, maybe not even in a month. But if you stay consistent, one day you'll look in the mirror and realize you've transformed. And it's the same with your goals. The effort compounds. Every day you show up, even in small ways, you're stacking bricks, building something that will eventually stand tall. Consistency is about discipline, not mood. Your mood is a liar. Your mood will tell you that you're too tired, that it doesn't matter, that you'll do it tomorrow. But discipline says, I made a commitment and I'm going to keep it. If you only work when you feel like it, you'll never get far. Champions train when they're tired. Leaders show up when they're discouraged. Entrepreneurs keep pushing even after a failed launch. They understand that the habit of showing up is more powerful than the feeling of wanting to. And here's the thing, consistency isn't glamorous. It's not the big moment on stage. It's the countless hours of practice behind the scenes. It's the late nights when no one's watching, the early mornings when everyone else is sleeping. It's the work you put in that nobody claps for, the sacrifices that no one posts about. But that's where the magic happens. By the time the world sees your success, it's too late for them to catch up because they didn't see the 1,000 days you showed up without applause. People think success is about intensity, about going all in for a short burst. But the truth is, the most successful people are not the ones who go the hardest for a week, but the ones who keep showing up for years. Intensity gets you started, consistency gets you finished. You can sprint, but you can't sprint forever. Consistency is like a marathon. It's about endurance, pacing yourself, and refusing to stop. Even in failure, consistency keeps you alive. You might lose a game, you might have a bad day at work, you might mess up a deal, but if you're consistent, that's just one day in a long chain of progress. You bounce back because you've built the muscle of persistence. One mistake doesn't define you, one loss doesn't stop you. Consistency is what allows you to learn, adapt, and grow until you win. The bottom line is this: consistency is the great equalizer. It levels the playing field between the talented and the determined. It turns average people into experts, dreamers into achievers, and beginners into masters. When you commit to showing up every day, no matter how you feel, you give yourself the only advantage that truly matters. You become unstoppable. Discipline over motivation. This is the line that separates the dreamers from the doers. Motivation feels great when it's there, but it's fleeting. It comes in waves, often triggered by an inspiring video, a speech, or a sudden rush of energy. But just as quickly as it arrives, it disappears. If your actions are dependent on motivation, you'll only work when you feel like it, and that's a dangerous trap. Because the truth is, most days you won't feel like it. Most days, your mind will try to convince you to take it easy, to do it tomorrow, to delay the grind. This is why discipline is more important, because discipline doesn't care how you feel. Discipline is the muscle you build through repetition, through doing the work over and over until it becomes part of you. It's about setting a standard for yourself and living up to it regardless of circumstances. Motivation might get you started on a Monday morning, but discipline will have you working just as hard on a cold, rainy Friday night when nobody's watching. Discipline doesn't ask for permission from your emotions. It simply acts because the task needs to be done. People who rely solely on motivation chase after the next spark. They read another quote, watch another video, listen to another speech, hoping it will push them to act. But those with discipline don't wait for sparks. They've built a fire that burns every day. They operate on commitment, not convenience. They have trained themselves to show up whether they're tired, stressed, or uninspired. And that's why they win. When you depend on motivation, you fall victim to inconsistency. One week you're unstoppable, the next week you're making excuses. But discipline removes the guesswork. It doesn't matter if you're tired. It doesn't matter if you're in a bad mood. It doesn't matter if you'd rather do something else. The work gets done. Day in and day out, discipline keeps you moving forward, stacking small victories until they transform into massive achievements. Discipline also gives you control over your life. Motivation is reactive. It depends on outside factors to get you going. Discipline is proactive. It's you deciding, I will do this no matter what. That control builds confidence because you know you can rely on yourself. You stop waiting for the right moment and start creating it. You stop waiting for the perfect feeling and start acting in spite of it. That shift changes everything. The reality is that discipline often feels uncomfortable. It requires sacrifice. It demands that you push through fatigue, boredom, and doubt. But every time you choose discipline over comfort, you grow stronger. You train your mind to obey your goals instead of your moods. And once that switch flips, you become unstoppable because you're no longer a prisoner of your feelings. Another thing discipline does is compound over time. The more you practice it, the easier it becomes to keep going. At first, it's hard to get up early, to stick to the plan, to turn down distractions. But after weeks and months of consistency, it becomes who you are. You don't have to think about it anymore. It's automatic. You've built a habit that works for you even when you're not thinking about it. Motivation might make you excited, but discipline builds your future. Motivation might inspire you, but discipline secures your results. Anyone can be motivated for a few days, but only the discipline can keep going for years. And when you look at the people who have achieved real, lasting success, you'll notice something. They don't always look motivated. They look committed. They look focused. They look disciplined. Because that's the real secret to winning at anything. Sacrifice is the entrance fee to any meaningful achievement. You can't have it all. Success and comfort cannot exist in the same space. One will always demand the removal of the other. If you choose comfort, you're choosing to settle. If you choose success, you're agreeing to give up the easy road. It's a transaction life demands from everyone, and no one gets to skip the payment. Something has to go. Your excuses, your laziness, your distractions, or maybe even people who hold you back. The truth is, you cannot reach your highest potential while holding on to everything that makes you feel safe. Success has never been about luck alone. It's about what you're willing to let go of in order to reach it. The late nights of work instead of hours of entertainment. The early mornings when you'd rather stay in bed. The weekends sacrificed for preparation and progress. Every great achievement has been built on a pile of sacrifices that nobody saw. People will look at the result and call it talent, but they won't see the things you had to give up along the way. That's the cost, and it's not negotiable. Many people fail not because they don't have the potential, but because they refuse to pay the price. They want the reward without the grind. They want the glory without the struggle. They want the outcome without giving up what's holding them back. But success is a gate that only opens when you've proven you're willing to leave something behind. The gatekeeper isn't impressed by your dreams, it's looking at your actions. Sacrifice isn't meant to punish you, it's meant to shape you. When you give up comfort for progress, you sharpen your focus, you strengthen your resilience, you learn to operate in discomfort, which is exactly where growth happens. The path to success is rarely smooth, and the ability to keep going when it's hard is built through those very sacrifices you make every day. Sometimes the sacrifice is time. You'll have to put hours into building skills while others are relaxing. Sometimes the sacrifice is money. Investing in your vision when there's no guarantee of immediate return. Sometimes it's relationships, distancing yourself from people who distract you, doubt you, or drain you. And sometimes the biggest sacrifice is your old self, the version of you that procrastinates, avoids risk, and chooses ease over effort. The reason sacrifice feels so heavy is because it forces you to make decisions that go against what's comfortable. Your mind will try to convince you that you can have both, keep the comfort and still achieve the goal. But history, experience, and every successful person will tell you otherwise. You either hold on to comfort and lose progress, or you let go of comfort and gain momentum. There's no third option. Over time, the sacrifices you make become the foundation of your discipline. At first, it stings to give up what you enjoy, but eventually, You start valuing the results more than the short-term pleasure you left behind. You stop seeing it as loss and start seeing it as an investment. Every choice to sacrifice becomes a brick in the structure of your success. When people see you succeed, they will call you lucky, gifted, or blessed. They won't know about the hours you stayed up working, the plans you canceled, the vacations you skipped, or the mornings you dragged yourself out of bed when nobody was watching. But you'll know the price you paid. And that's why it will mean so much more. Because at the end of the day, success isn't given. It's earned. And the currency you use to earn it is sacrifice. Every step you take toward your dream requires you to leave something behind. The question is never whether you want it. The question is what you're willing to give up for it. Learning to outwork everybody isn't about having in the perfect conditions or waiting for the right moment. It's about deciding that no one will outlast you, outthink you, or outgrind you. Talent and intelligence can give you a head start, but they don't guarantee you'll stay ahead. The person who refuses to quit, who shows up day after day, and who pushes harder when everyone else slows down will eventually rise to the top. The ability to outwork others comes from discipline, not luck. It's about creating a mindset where work ethic becomes your greatest weapon. The truth is, the world is full of talented people who never reach their potential because they rely on their gifts instead of building their grind. Natural ability might help you win in the short term, but hard work wins in the long term. There will always be someone smarter, someone with more resources, or someone with a better starting point. But the one thing you can control, the thing nobody can take from you, is how hard you're willing to work. Effort is the great equalizer, and persistence is the force that turns effort into mastery. Outworking everybody doesn't mean you're reckless with your time. It's not about staying busy just to look like you're hustling. It's about being intentional, putting your energy into the actions that truly move you forward. You work longer not because you have to, but because you know what's at stake. You work harder because you refuse to be outpaced. And you work smarter because you understand that efficiency is just as important as effort. This mindset requires sacrifice. While others sleep in, you're up making progress. While others waste hours on distractions, you're refining your craft. While others give up after a setback, you're finding a way to turn that setback into a lesson. Every day becomes an opportunity to widen the gap between yourself and everyone else. And over time, those extra hours, extra efforts, and extra decisions compound into results that look impossible to anyone who didn't see the work behind them. The competitive edge comes from doing the things others won't do. Most people will give their best until it becomes uncomfortable. Then they'll stop. That's where you keep going. That's where your advantage begins. When your competition is tired, you push harder. When they think they've done enough, you do more. This doesn't mean you burn yourself out. It means you condition yourself to operate at a level that others can't sustain. You make the extra effort a normal part of your process. Outworking everybody isn't glamorous. It's not always inspiring. It's often lonely, repetitive, and exhausting. You'll question yourself. You'll wonder if it's worth it. And you'll have days when you feel like nothing is changing. But progress is rarely loud in the moment. It's built quietly day after day until it becomes undeniable. That's when people start asking how you did it. And the answer will be simple. You just worked longer, harder, and smarter than anyone else. To live this way, you have to develop an obsession with growth. You have to see every day as a chance to gain ground, even if it's just an inch. You have to fall in love with the process more than the praise. Outworking everybody means you're not just competing against others, you're competing against your own limits, your own doubts, and your own excuses. The people who achieve the most aren't always the most gifted. They're the ones who decided to outlast everyone else. They stayed when others left. They practiced when others rested. They studied when others ignored the details. They made their work ethic impossible to match. And eventually, the world had no choice but to notice. Because in the end, the one who works the hardest and smartest doesn't just win. They redefine what's possible. Staying hungry, even when you're winning, is about never letting success dull your edge. The climb to the top demands relentless focus, but the real challenge begins once you get there. Success has a way of making people comfortable. Comfort whispers that you've done enough, that you can relax, that you've earned the right to slow down. But the truth is, the moment you ease up, someone else is coming for your spot. Hunger is the fuel that got you here, and it's the only thing that will keep you here. When you're chasing success, every step forward feels urgent. You're fighting for opportunities, battling to prove yourself, and driven by a vision that hasn't yet been realized. But when you start winning, that urgency can fade if you're not careful. Achievements can make you feel like the work is over, but in reality, the game has only just begun. Staying hungry means refusing to let your current wins blind you to the bigger picture. It means remembering that there's always another level to reach, another skill to sharpen, another battle to fight. The great ones know that success isn't a destination. It's a moving target. The moment you start believing you've made it, you've already started falling behind. While you're celebrating, someone else is working in silence, preparing to take your place. Hunger keeps you sharp. It keeps you learning, growing, and pushing, even when you have every reason to take it easy. It's not about being dissatisfied with what you've achieved. It's about knowing that achievement is fragile, and the only way to protect it is to keep moving forward. Staying hungry requires humility. You can't believe your own hype. You can't start thinking you're untouchable. The second you believe you're above putting in the work, you're already losing ground. Hunger keeps you grounded. It reminds you that no matter how far you've come, there's still more to learn, more to do, and more ways to improve. It forces you to look at your accomplishments as stepping stones, not finish lines. It also demands discipline. Motivation may have gotten you started, but discipline keeps you grinding when the excitement of the win fades. You have to set new goals the moment you hit old ones. You have to stay committed to the same work ethic you had when you were still chasing the dream. You have to train yourself to see victory not as a time to rest, but as a call to prepare for the next challenge. Hunger thrives when you're willing to put yourself back in uncomfortable situations even after you've achieved comfort. It means pushing yourself into new arenas, taking on bigger challenges, and risking failure again. Winning can make you cautious, afraid to lose what you've gained. But real hunger means you're not afraid to step into battles that could humble you, because you know that growth lives in that discomfort. The reality is, hunger is a choice. It's easy to be driven when you have nothing, when the stakes are high and survival is on the line. But when you have the success, the status, the comfort, that's when hunger becomes rare. That's when it has to be consciously protected. The most dangerous place you can be is satisfied, because satisfaction can turn into stagnation, and stagnation will eventually lead to decline. To stay hungry is to never let your achievements outshine your ambition. It's to wake up every day with the same intensity you had before anyone knew your name. It's to see each win not as a reason to slow down, but as proof that you're capable of more. Because no matter how much you've achieved, the game doesn't stop, and neither should you. Protecting your vision from small minds is one of the most important disciplines you'll ever master. Your dream is yours for a reason. It was given to you, not to them. Not everyone is going to see it, understand it, or believe in it. And that's not their job. Your responsibility is to protect it, nurture it, and bring it to life, even when the people around you can't comprehend what you're aiming for. Too often, people kill their own dreams because they waste time seeking approval from those who've never built anything themselves. Small minds think in small circles. They're limited by fear, by past failures, and by their own lack of vision. When you share your big ideas with them, they filter it through their limitations. They'll tell you why it can't be done, why it's too risky, or why you should be realistic. But realism in their world means settling for less than you're capable of. It means conforming to a life that feels safe but unfulfilled. If you're not careful, those voices can plant seeds of doubt in your mind, slowly pulling you away from your own belief in what's possible. You have to understand that people can only give advice based on the level of life they've experienced. If they've never taken a leap, they'll always encourage you to stay on the ground. If they've never built a dream, they'll only see the reasons it can fail. That's why you can't hand your vision over to people who've never been where you're trying to go. Their lack of understanding isn't an attack. It's just a reflection of their perspective. But your vision demands protection from that kind of thinking. Part of protecting your vision is learning to move in silence. The bigger your goals, the less you need to talk about them to everyone. Some people aren't listening to support you. They're listening to judge you, compare themselves to you, or find reasons to doubt you. Your energy is too valuable to waste defending something that doesn't need defending. Instead of explaining yourself to people who've already decided not to believe, put that energy into building something so undeniable that it speaks for itself. This also means surrounding yourself with people who can expand your vision, not shrink it. Big thinkers won't laugh at your goals. They'll push you to make them bigger. They won't tell you to slow down. They'll challenge you to keep going. When you spend time with people who've done what you want to do, they'll give you advice from a place of experience, not fear. They'll understand that every big dream sounds impossible until it's done, and they'll remind you that the only opinions that matter are the ones that help you grow. You have to be intentional about protecting your mental space. Every conversation, every environment, every piece of advice you allow into your life is either watering your vision or poisoning it. If someone's words make you doubt yourself, limit their influence. If a place drains your energy, spend less time there. Protecting your vision is not about being arrogant. It's about being selective with what you allow to shape your thinking. The truth is, most people won't understand your dream until it's real. They'll question it, dismiss it, or even mock it. And then, when it's finally built, they'll act like they always believed in you. That's why you can't tie your belief to their approval. You have to believe when no one else does. You have to see it in your mind so clearly that it becomes more real to you than the doubts around you. Your dream is fragile in its early stages. It needs the right environment to grow. That means feeding it with faith, work, and the right influences, and shielding it from small minds that can't see past their own fears. Because at the end of the day, your vision doesn't need their permission to exist. It only needs your commitment to protect it at all costs.